We're finally doing The Walking Dead.
It's been a long time coming.
6 years.
I know, we're a little bit late.
Yeah, so, do you remember what the weather was like for episode 21, which is Wentworth is the New Black? Do you know what the weather was like? It was wildly different to what it is now.
I know, it's still nighttime.
Oh, God. Oh, no. My microphone's just fallen off its stand. I'm just going to hold it, I think.
It's fine. I wonder, you got a lot quieter. And I was just like, it's probably fine.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh, God, and now the wire's moved and it's knocking things over. Is that better? Is that all right?
That is perfect.
Smashing. Okay, so, yeah, this week, following immediately from the recording of our prison podcast, we're talking about apocalypses.
Yes.
So,
because the person who put together this list thought we were doing 2 zombie shows, post-apocalyptic zombie shows. Turns out they're just post-apocalyptic.
See, that's a shame, because I kind of knew that Revolution was more about power and stuff. Actually, in fact, it's interesting because the person who convinced me to watch the Walking Dead show also was telling me about this other show that he really liked, that he couldn't remember the name of, which was all about how the power goes out in America. And and he really liked that too. So bringing it all together, it's the snake is eating its own tail.
Ah, that's cool. I again hadn't heard of Revolution, and I remember hearing about The Walking Dead when it came out, but I didn't start watching it until last year before last, 2014 maybe.
Oh yeah, because I totally forgot this, but I was really into it. And I kept saying, "Oh, you should really watch The Walking Dead. It's great." And you kept saying, "I don't give a shit."
Yeah, I think we touched on this when we were talking about Game of Thrones. Because I got to a point and I wanted to watch something and just binge it.
Yeah.
I need to stop binging things. But
you binge a lot.
I know. And I was choosing between Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. I had both of the first episodes up and ready to watch and started on Game of Thrones and just went, I'll just close The Walking Dead, and then sort of never came back to it.
Hang on a minute. You had both pilots up ready to watch?
Yeah.
And now look what we've been doing for a year as a hobby.
I know. It's
having 2 pilots up and watching both, admittedly, but... No, that's a nice little snake eating its own tail moment again.
Yeah. But yeah, I picked Game of Thrones and then didn't pick this up until... I can't remember why. I think I was just wanting something.
Yeah. I don't know either, because I think I've only I was only into Walking Dead as a result of I got a job in London, and I was getting the train from Hedge End, which is near Southampton, to Waterloo, and that was I think an hour and a half journey, each way. So that's 3 hours commute.
It's a lot of comic reading, or a perfect amount of time to watch a TV show.
Yeah, that's what I did rather than. Because I think it's 2 episodes up and 2 episodes on the way back, so I could do 4 episodes a day. So I just blitzed through the first 3 series. I was like, okay, you really need to watch this. And then, which was it? Series 5 that I
caught up on season 5.
Oh, that's it, because it was like the finale was coming up, and didn't you caught up in like a week or something like you do?
Yeah, I caught up in I think it was like 2 weeks, and I caught up.
I don't know how you do that. So I guess we're starting with Walking Dead.
Yeah, I guess.
So Walking Dead, it's huge. Everyone knows what it is.
It almost goes without saying, like what it is The Walking Dead.
It's a soap opera with zombies. That's basically what it is. So yeah, Rick Grimes wakes up in a hospital, like 28 Days Later, like Day of the Triffids, and there's zombies and shit.
Oh my! Doesn't it? It starts off with a gas station, doesn't it? And he's just like, and the thing that never comes back. You never see that scene again. I don't think.
What if that's the very last scene of the show?
Then we know he doesn't lose his arm.
What do you mean?
In the comics, he loses an arm.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a hand. I think. I don't think it's his whole arm.
I thought it was up to his elbow.
Oh, you probably know more about this than me.
Oh no, I haven't read the comics.
I've started to, but I just sort of, that was it, because I was buying them, and then I realised there was like 24 of them. So I thought this is going to be a lot of money, and then for some reason I just stopped, and then started watching the show.
Yeah, but yeah, and I quite like that. This is another one of those things where both shows use, like, the opening to both shows is quite similar. They start off before the apocalypse, and then just time jump. I think Walking Dead deals with it better. They're just like, oh, he was in a coma for however many months. How long was he in a coma for? It was like 2 years or something.
No, I think it was 3 months. I can't remember why that's in my head, but I really think it's 3 months.
I thought it was longer than that, because there was a lot of people who are a bit sort of like iffy on the whole, like, how mostly. I think even people were just sort of like, well, he was still hooked up to an IV. That would have need to be changed regularly.
Yeah, but this is a show in which the dead has returned to eat the living. So I
doesn't make
forgive it.
IVs infinite. They have a lot of other real world problems.
I don't care. It's a zombie show. So it really annoys me that when people sort of nitpick things like that, it's like, well, just for fuck's sake, it's just a TV show. It's a bit of entertainment. Chill out.
But I don't want to.
Yeah, but what do you gain from going, oh, look at me, I'm smart enough to realise that this is a mistake in this imperfect thing?
If you can't, I've just realised you can't see me, but I've got my hand up.
No,
just waiting.
You know what? I could hear it.
But it's just, I don't know, I think people like those sort of theories. I mean, personally, I don't really care that much, because I'm just sort of like, oh, cool. Maybe someone changed the IV and fucked off and just turned it down, made it slower.
Yep, there you go. Job done. So it then the show turns into sort of, there's so many like allegories you can pick out and apply to everyday life and everything. But something that I've just mentioned to you just before we started recording this that has only just occurred to me, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia entry for the pilot episode of The Walking Dead, in which Rick he's on a horse, he's got a bag of guns, and he's got a sheriff's hat on. And so to all intents and purposes, he looks like a cowboy, and he's riding in on a horse to come save the day. In Revolution, the entire aesthetic, the tropes, everything, it just comes from the Western genre. So there's this weird connection between the apocalypse and the Western, and I think that probably comes because of Westerns being generally set in barren, featureless spaces, and that's sort of what is trying to be represented when all the power goes out in Revolution and when all the people die and come back in Walking Dead.
Yeah, there's a lot of that sort of thing in Fallout as well. It's not like the main theme, but it is there.
I was having a bet with myself as to how quickly you would reference Fallout as soon as I mentioned Revolution.
Also, it's an apocalypse. The Fallouts are a post-apocalyptic game. Different. Very different. No, well, there are zombies.
Are there?
They're like they're ghouls, and they come in various states of like, they'll murder you, or they're just really, really ugly people.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're almost like zombies, but with still brain intact. And there are feral ghouls, which are, just pretty much shoot 'em all. But in some of the older games, they didn't cluster, like, and in Fallout 4 they do, so they horde at you to an extent. And it's pretty cool.
Kind of like herds.
Yeah. Not quite to that sort of extreme. Although I would still stand there in the middle of them and just go, well, F5, fuck it. See how many I can take. But back to, I guess, the zombies in Walking Dead, or walkers, not zombies.
Yeah, we're not using the Z word.
Yeah, that was something that, I mean, I sort of understand why they haven't
But-
done it.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, completely contradicting what I was saying about people nitpicking in unnecessary things in drama, but I don't know why the word zombie doesn't exist in this version of Georgia.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't...
I mean, I don't care, because it's quite cool that everyone, you know, brings up their own terms with it, like the walkers, the roamers, the biters, the dead, whatever.
Yeah, it's quite... It's nice. It's almost like it's been happening for long enough that each area has their own sort of colloquialism for it, and it's just like,
Yeah.
that's cute. At least you're not just all calling them zombies.
Like, linguistics and things like that completely fascinates and really entertains me, so I was really pleased when that started happening. I was like, oh, this is really cool that they're coming up with different names.
Yeah, I mean, I think... I'm trying to think of... Because before I'd watched The Walking Dead, I hadn't really watched that many post-apocalyptic stuff set in that sort of... I mean, apart from maybe Mad Max, but that's not really the same.
Well, I suppose, again, you've got, you know, the wide open desert and the sort of the lawlessness and that sort of thing. Perhaps that's what it harks back to, is the fact that, you know, the lawlessness of the land sort of invokes the Western. But had you seen much zombie stuff before
Not...
Walking Dead? You weren't, like, hugely into...
I'm still not hugely into zombie stuff. Like, it's something that just recently feels quite overdone. Like, I think I've watched 28 Days Later, all of the Resident Evil films, and yeah, that's probably and I've watched some of the old...
Have you seen any of the George Romero?
I think I've seen... Fuck, what was it called?
Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead. Dawn of the Dead I've seen. Is Dawn of the Dead the one in the shopping centre?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah. It's weird because I can really vividly remember. Right, I think the first vaguely horrific film I watched was, I must have been about 13, 14, and I watched Shaun of the Dead. And that was my first exposure to zombies and everything. And, you know, there's points of that are quite scary. So from then, I had a huge revolution. Like, I went through as many horror films as I could find, and a lot of them being zombies. And I've got this really vivid memory of watching Dawn of the Dead in a car, because we had a DVD player that you could Velcro screens to the front seats, and you could watch them if you're sat in the back. And I really vividly remember watching Dawn of the Dead in the back of this car, and then looking around and just seeing this endless countryside, and it completely captured my imagination in a way that was like, I've never been this immersed in a story before, thinking, oh Christ, what would I do? What if they were coming here? Where would I go? And it's quite cliched now, because everyone's had the conversation, you know, what's your zombie survival plan and all that, but there's something about the zombie genre that completely captures a you know,
I'm not sure what it is about
an
it.
immersion like that. I don't know why. I really don't know why.
Because it is quite it's weird, because it's a pretty far-fetched thing.
Is it?
I'd say so, yeah. Like, it's quite...
I'm not sure I'd agree. I think it's quite realistic.
Well, no, I mean, apparently it happened like a couple thousand years ago, but that was just one guy. So...
Brilliant.
But... I mean, it's one of those things that... I mean, I suppose it's less monstery than, say, like Godzilla. Or something like that.
What do you mean? Oh, it's less removed from being human.
Yeah, so because it's human, you can relate to characters. And by the time that you're old enough to really sort of watch and understand these shows, you're old enough to sort of understand decay. And
yeah.
I guess maybe there is just something... I don't know what it is. There's something about it that's just... relatable, but in a way that you know that it's probably not going to happen. And if
Yeah.
it does, you know exactly what you're going to do.
It's probably this might sound like a weird thing to say, but it's probably the closest. Like The Walking Dead, the show, is probably the closest I've ever felt to the level of immersion I felt when playing something like Skyrim. It's affected my brain that much that I'm constantly thinking about it to that level. Like, I remember when I was first watching it. Oh, that was it. It wasn't. It was. I was getting through Series 3 when I was working in London. I'd previously started watching that in my last few weeks of my summer job, which was sat in a shed in a big field, for want of a better, I used to work
That's your job. That's fine.
yeah, and
It's outside.
at this point, they were at the farmhouse, so there was lots of big fields and sort of shacks around, and that was a really amazing experience. Just being sat in the and it really scared me.
Yeah, I guess what it is, it's an easy scenario to imagine. I mean, especially, I don't know, man. I don't know why. Oh no, I was going to say you very rarely get them set in London. There were 2 films, but it's weird because a lot of The Walking Dead is set sort of, well, it starts off in the city, but they avoid spending time in cities because that's where all the dead people are.
Yeah.
And they then go out into the countryside, and it's, even though you know it's set in America, it's still a lot more relatable than big American cities.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the cities that we're used to are significantly smaller and less straight lines.
But also, you and I have grown up in fairly rural areas as well.
Yeah, so
Which I think
the idea
helps
of,
that.
like, having to run through a field is sort of like, yeah, no, that's probably what I'd have to do.
Maybe that's what it comes from. Maybe it's because there's, well, I don't know if this was, I imagine this was the case with you, but around here, I always refer to my village as, what Luke says of Tatooine. If there's a bright, shining centre of the universe, this is the village it's the furthest from. And maybe it's because we were so remote, it was that much easier for me to tap into that sort of sensibility and think, oh, well, what if there were zombies? While I'm running around the woods and the park with my mates, what if we were running away from zombies?
Well, it's the
It's
same.
not
It's the
huge.
same thing that I think probably do with a lot of films, because when I was younger, I spent a lot of time like in woodland having like play sword fights with my
Yeah.
mates and stuff,
Playing
and
Star
that
Wars.
or Lord of the Rings, because
Lord
we're
of
in the
Rings,
woods.
Yeah, that was a big one for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could be on Endor.
Yeah, but we didn't have the speeders, so it was a bit, a bit lackluster.
Who were you when you played Lord of the Rings?
I don't know, probably Aragorn or Éomer or something like that.
I was always
Gimli,
oh no, shit, what's his name?
Faramir.
Haldir,
Ah,
the elf chap who turns up in Two Towers.
yes.
I think another reason that this show is so significant to me is that, well, obviously it's probably the show that collectively means the most to you and me, but it's also my dad and I have never really liked the same stuff. Like growing up, I don't know what he must have thought of me, like the shit I was watching when I was growing up.
I mean,
This
it's the same,
scary,
probably the same as he
gory
thinks
shit.
of you now.
Yeah, I
Like, what
imagine so.
dick?
But I told him about this show because I caught him on Netflix one day and he was watching some fucking really crap apocalypse thing, and I was like, oh, if you like end of the world stuff, you should try Walking Dead. It's got zombies and stuff in it. So, and then flash forward a few years later, it's now probably our most discussed topic. Is that it was completely alien to me because there I was watching slasher films, Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween and all this really scary shit, and my dad's like, "The fuck is wrong with my boy?" And now it's like I've showed him this thing, and it's a really significant show to us, and that's why I think, when was it? It was just before the end of last year. I got a tattoo on my arm, and it's Rick with his arm around Carl, and it's just when they're running away from the prison in the third or fourth series.
Yeah, your
Where
tattoo looks like more like they're
Delta.
walking than running.
Well, I think
Is it?
I
It's
mean,
based on that scene, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's if someone's just paused it and sketched that moment, or if they've like screenshotted it or whatever. But yeah, that's where it's from. They're walking away and Rick's holding a shotgun and Carl sort of got his arm around him and that. And I just thought, it's a nice father and son thing.
yeah. I mean, it's like it's one of those shows that I think when it was aired, especially the end of last season, we watched the finale together, almost. Because I might have.
Fuck off. I came round with tell you what, you're not working tomorrow. Come round to mine and we'll watch the Walking Dead finale. So I'm like, oh yeah, that'd be great. So I go around. Oh, Rich, how you doing? Yeah, I'm great. I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh yeah, why's that? I've watched the finale already. It's like you couldn't wait another few hours for me to get round.
watched it again.
It's not the same.
I know, but that's the thing. It's one of those shows that, like, as soon as I know that I can watch it, I'm just like, I gotta watch it. Because you're
a proper TV addict.
I know this is one of the shows that we talk about at work as well. Like, it was just,
Oh really?
and it would just sort of be like, yep, don't say anything. I haven't watched it yet. It was the same with like Game of Thrones and stuff as well. But it's one of those.
You don't spoil Game of Thrones for everyone.
Well, no, because they were watching it at the same time as me, so they'd watch it. Okay, so one time I happened to read a spoiler. At least that's not going to happen with this. Or what I might do is, for no reason, stay up and just text you who dies.
Don't say anything. Oh, there's a big car that just pulled away outside my house. Oh no, he's still there. What is that? I'm sorry. This is great podcasting, but it's not even a great car. I've just realised my window's open as I'm shouting. It's not a great car at the guy who's driving away a convertible.
Yeah. So, but when you when you watched the first episode of Walking Dead, were you in at that point, or was it?
No, it took me a while actually.
I think it took me like half a season
I think it took
before
me
I was into it.
took me the full first season before I was properly like, oh, this is actually really good. Because I think the second season, the second season might be my favourite.
I don't know why it took me so long. I think it's because I recognised Andrew Lincoln from
I recognise him from
Teachers. Yeah,
Hey, that was a great show.
I know, and I recognised him from that. And I think I spent the whole of the first half of the season just being like,
Simon.
I fucking recognise him, but I couldn't remember where from. And you know when that just drives you insane.
Yeah.
It was one of those. But then, like, eventually it clicks. I think it just takes time. Because it is exciting to start with, but it's quite sort of slow and...
Yeah. But it also it borrows a lot from Day of the Triffids, and 28 Days Later, which borrowed from Day of the Triffids, because that opening is exactly what happens in Day of the Triffids. But I think the chap wakes up blind as well, which is
that would be annoying.
Oh, completely.
But what I also like is that this first episode doesn't really introduce any of the other characters.
No, he's largely on. I mean, you meet Morgan for the first time.
Yeah, you meet Morgan and you hear Glenn, but that's it. And I think to me that suggested that this was just going to be one guy versus the zombies almost, and he was going to meet up with like buddies for a few episodes, rather than, I don't know, forming a new civilization. But I quite like that about it. It took me a while to get into, but I didn't have anything else to watch, so I watched it.
That's lucky then that you didn't have anything else to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably move on to Revolution, because we have gone on about The Walking Dead. Like, I knew it would happen.
Yeah,
You know,
I like
I'll like
before we started recording, you were just like, I really hope we talk about The Walking Dead. Just like, we have.
Yeah, for 25 minutes nearly. So, should we shift over to La Revolution?
Yes. So it's set in a post-apocalypse.
What? Although you can't really have post-apocalypse because the apocalypse is the death of the Earth, and seeing as that hasn't happened yet in either show. It was Kermode said it. It's fine.
Anyway,
What?
I like
a
that
cracking
this.
surprise this was. I did not think I was going to enjoy this that much, but
I
Christ, it
thought
was good fun.
I thought it was going to be something good to compare to The Walking Dead, so that we could talk about The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
but-
you wanted to talk about zombies for two halves of a podcast,
Yeah, but
and then you done fucked up, bitch.
this, unlike, they're similar in that there was a big apocalypsey thing.
Yeah, except the big scary thing is you can't turn on your phone.
Well, I don't know. How long did it take you to realise that the flashing lights in the sky were planes falling down? Because it took me until they quite candidly show one falling out. I was like, oh, that's what that is.
Well, I think because I feel bad because you didn't know it was about how everyone loses power, but that I knew that's what the show was about, so I sort of guessed when I saw the sparkling lights, because it really is. The first time you see it, it is just like a flashing light. Like, you don't see anything. You don't see the shape of a plane or anything. It is just a couple of flashing lights, and then, like you say,
I mean,
suddenly there's planes falling out of the sky.
I need to stop putting my hand up, but not
Put
to.
your hand up.
Yeah, I know, because I just do it when you're in the middle of talking. I don't know if I do it when
Do
I
you
see you in
actually?
person. Yeah, just sometimes. I don't know why.
Oh,
Oh,
Christ. What if I'm
fuck.
rambling? Just say.
Oh,
it.
I was
Jesus.
gonna. Oh no, I was just gonna do
Planes,
that. I was
planes.
gonna do that thing where.
You're gonna swear at me.
No, you know that thing where you don't like people who nitpick. I
Oh,
just one little nitpick about the planes falling out the sky.
Go on.
They would glide for a while,
Yeah, I know. I did think that as well.
and I was just sort of like, yeah, unless like
Maybe-
it's a catastrophic magnetic thing that busts
Oh,
the
yeah.
power, then maybe the planes would be drawn to the Earth.
But then wouldn't all the cars and everything else move as well if it was magnetic?
Not if it was something like the poles reversing or something. That would have throw off a massive EMP, and it would fuck with planes. But it
How
would just
funny
start.
would it be if you just guessed exactly what happened?
I don't know. Part of me would be really annoyed that it was that predictable.
Yeah.
But aside from the planes, like, I thought it was. I quite liked the sort of the rolling blackout, and that you can just, like, especially when they're what's his name? Miles and his mate, who turns out to be the big evil guy, are on the road, and their car just stops working, and then you just see they get out of the car, and it's just car after car. Their lights are just going out,
Yeah.
rather than just all
Like-
happening at once.
Yeah. It was like a wave rather than someone flipping a switch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But we only saw it, when it shows the shot of the planet. You only see the Americas being affected by it. So I wonder if it is worldwide or if it is just the American.
I mean, we're being dicked over somewhere, but
Yeah,
but
probably.
no one cares.
So that's the wider plot of it. But then
Yeah, and then it skips like the Walking Dead bit, like the bit that the Walking
bit
Dead's
where we
taken 5 seasons to get to. They're just like, and we're here.
the bit where the EMP turned everyone into zombies.
Yeah, and so they just go. I've just read what is possibly a spoiler.
Oh, good.
Because I've just read that they're with. So it's basically the main characters are Charlie, Danny, and their mum and dad are the people that you first meet. So Ben, Charlie, Danny, and Rachel. Yep.
But it's not her mum.
Yeah, no,
It's her stepmom in the 15 years later. But
Yeah.
Are you saying right at the start?
Yeah, right at the start, those are the 4 people. Because I've just read that Rachel disappeared years ago while hunting and is believed by all to be dead, which makes me think she might not actually be dead.
Oh, okay.
And that's just in the synopsis for episode 1. That's yay.
Is it? I'm looking at that. Okay, never mind.
But no, and then so the militia come, led by Gus Fring.
He has a real name. That's not his actual name. He was in something else that I was watching quite recently, and it was like a comedy thing, and he was great. But he is fucking brilliant, isn't he?
Yeah, because I recognised him, and I was like, oh, it's Gus. And then I heard him speak, and I was like, that's not Gus. And I had to check, and I was just like, oh, no, it is.
Turns down the Mexican, the Spanish.
Yeah, and it's always nice when you see people turn up in other things.
Yeah, it's nice to see good actors getting work.
Yeah.
It also occurs to me that the opening really reminded me of The Stand. Have you read The Stand?
No.
It's kind of like, have you played the opening act of The Last of Us?
Maybe.
Okay, that's basically taken from Stephen King's The Stand. Like, it just really reminded me. Anyway,
But yeah, then the militia turn up. I'm guessing that the militia are bad.
yeah, they're Monroe's militia, aren't they? They work for. Oh well.
But that's something that they touch on very briefly, is that there are new world orders, similar to all the different factions and stuff in Fallout. I'm processing it for me.
It's actually, it did make me think of Fallout a lot, like, because it's so Western. Like, you go into that bar and everyone's got flint locks and things like that.
Yeah, and I think what I like is that across both shows, crossbows are widely used.
Yeah.
And there's always one guy who's got to be special. It's like, oh, but I've got a longbow. And he's also bad, but not bad. Bad, but not bad.
He really wound me up, that guy. I can't remember his name, but
Nate,
that was it. He really fucking wound me up.
Because like when you first meet him, she's just like, I'm just gonna go get some water, and then he just goes, he's just like, oh, or most people say good morning. It's just like, okay, cool. Then he saves her without knowing where she's going or who she is.
Yeah.
Or maybe he does, I guess. I'm assuming that he does, in that he's there to betray her. And then he's all like faux overprotective, and then he's a bad guy, but then he saves her. And then I'm just confused as to what his motives are, apart from being there to turn up when she's about to get killed.
I think he works for the militia, but just fancies Grace, who I also really am not a fan of. I can't really explain why. She just really irritates me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that might just be her character. That
Yeah.
she also, I think, because how old is she meant to be? Because it's only 15 years has passed since she was a kid, like 2 or 3 years old.
I think she was older than that, because she had quite a lot of hair and quite defined features and everything. I think she was about 5 or 6, so I think she's roughly supposed to be 20-ish.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out how old she's meant to be.
Okay.
Just because it confused me, because she looks older than. I'd say she's probably meant to be. Oh, I can't even remember what her name is.
Grace.
No, she's Charlie. You're thinking of the old woman.
Yeah, sorry. I'm looking at this plot synopsis, and every time I'm looking at it, it says. Anyway, yeah. So Charlie, she is supposed to be.
I can't see it. It doesn't say anywhere. Oh. But I mean, apart from that, it is a good show. It's interesting. Like, it's another one of those ones that I just want to watch more of.
Yeah, it's not particularly heavy dry. It's not like, it's quite light. It's got a lighter tone than something like Breaking Bad or.
It's easy. I'd say it's probably quite easy to follow for the 2 seasons.
Yeah, it's a good adventure show, isn't it? I'd say.
Yeah, and I feel like there will be drama in there.
Oh yeah, but I mean, it's quite, it's not entirely original in its sort of setups. It's like it's very much like, oh, here's the quest. Okay, you've now got to go and your brother's died. Now you need to go and find. Oh no, sorry, your dad died. You need to go and find your uncle. You go and find your uncle. Your uncle wants nothing to do with you. You have a little bit of a fight. He turns out to be a badass, and then he goes, "Okay, do you know what? I'll help." It's it's quite a well-trodden story.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you wish they
doesn't
just
stop it
would
being
sort of
entertaining.
they would skip that middle bit of just like them being like, "Oh no, but why should I come with you? It's not going to benefit me." And it's just like, people are actually coming to kill you, right? Like, whatever you do, someone's going to come and try and kill you.
Yeah, that bit I was a bit like, oh, come on, are we really doing this? Of course he's going to go with you eventually. Otherwise there wouldn't be a show.
I think it is just to show off, like, because the only thing she knows about him is that he's really good at killing people, and he has to prove that.
Yeah, I am really quite intrigued as to the whole Monroe situation. Like, okay, so he started branding people with his tattoo that he got, which is a crap tattoo, by the way, to get your own surname tattooed on yourself.
I think it might be an army thing. Yeah, she's also 26. She was 11.
She really didn't look 26.
I know, she looked old, like, because I thought for some reason she was like 5 or 6, and she looks a lot older than 20. I thought she did anyway.
I think this is her only credit, I think. I'm not sure. I definitely haven't seen her in anything else.
No, she's Rise of the Planets of the Apes, Supernatural, Aliens in America.
I do want to watch. Oh, okay. Oh,
she was in Being Human. I'm assuming that's the American version.
Well, yeah. Well,
Yep.
if you don't recognise her as being in that. So. Oh, apparently she's in Bates Motel. As well.
And episodes as well.
I've never watched that. Oh, the L Word. I think my mum liked that.
I have seen it. I must have seen her in other things then, because I've watched the American Being Human and episodes. So, she's just not memorable. She just doesn't play a good character in those.
Oh no, how terrible.
But no, overall, like I want to watch, because like it's pretty much cancelled apart from they're gonna, I don't know, touch a thing.
What? They're
gonna do, like, they have to finish it off, I think.
Oh really? Okay. Oh, there's this is loosely based on the Emberverse novel series, so this is based on a book, and a lot of the episode titles have the titles are songs by Led Zeppelin, which is weird, or they are other apocalyptic films and Stephen King books. That's what I've just discovered looking at it, because they've got The Dark Tower and The Stand. There you go, The Stand, which are Stephen King things, and then there's some others. Anyway.
But I mean, honestly, I probably will catch up with it.
Yeah, I'd give it a go. I think I might actually introduce this to my dad as well, because I think he'd really like it. Given it this whole apocalypse thing, and he's into that for some reason. And
yeah, I'm just trying not to scroll too far through like the plot, because I sometimes, like, normally if I see a show that's like, oh, this is all right, I might like read a little bit to see if it gets better.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm just like, I just want to watch more and just see where it goes. Might have to get Amazon Prime.
I have, but the streaming quality is terrible. I'm now discovering there's actually some quite decent stuff on there. I still haven't finished Preacher. I still haven't finished the first episode of Preacher.
Oh, you still need to watch Constantine as well.
And Constantine. So I need to do that before my subscription runs out, because I don't think I'm going to be able to afford it next year. And we're doing those shows at some point in the new year. So
yeah. What if you and Lisa split it, and then both watch stuff?
That could work, but I don't know if she'd go for that. Like a Netflix subscription, she'd probably chuck in for, but
the Prime is not just the video; there's all the other stuff.
Yeah, it's like one day delivery, and that's really good. I have really enjoyed having that this year.
Yeah, But I mean, like, it's as streaming services go, like, it's there. Like, it's no Netflix really though.
Yeah, it's very stuttery. Like it, after sort of 5 or 10 minutes of stop-start buffering, it does pick up and it does get better. But it's
Yeah.
just that initial.
Well, I mean, we have a Fire Stick here, so I'm thinking maybe the Fire Stick might just be better.
Yeah, no,
for it.
I have used a Fire Stick on it before because I bought my parents and Lisa's parents. I bought them a Fire Stick for Christmas last year, and it does seem to work better on those. And I think, yeah, my dad bought one, and then that was just before Christmas, and I was like, okay, you've just ruined your Christmas present. So there's a spare one floating around somewhere, I think. But enough about what happened last year Christmas for me. Do you think you'll continue with Walking Dead? I mean, it seems a bit far-fetched to me.
I know. I don't know. Probably, maybe just I'll watch it until they stop making it.
Yeah, I don't know. I might stop now. I'm quite happy never knowing what happened and who got killed at the end of last series. I think it could be a huge double bluff, and he actually kills one of his own. Or he
Just
kills
to
two.
prove a point.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll kill fucking what's his guy, Trevor from GTA. That was the weirdest guest star I've ever seen because I recognised him as a character from a game by his voice.
Recognise him as a rendered character. That was very.
But like it looks like him.
Yeah,
Like
it's really weird.
and the characters are pretty similar. Like they're kooky.
Kooky, yeah. Waking up on a beach with a guy tied to a fucking stem of the pier and then setting him on fire. Yeah, kooky.
Okay, yeah, batshit crazy, but like no, I will definitely keep watching it. I mean, I hope that they sort of wrap it up soon because I feel like it's one of those shows that might go on too long.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like that. Like when they announced the Game of Thrones, when they said, "Oh, it's going to be shorter series."
13 more episodes and that's it.
I'm totally fine with that. If they wrap
It makes
up
sense.
succinctly and have a nice little package, and it doesn't go on for too long, like so many shows do, then great.
Yeah, I know. I think we've talked about this before, and definitely we've talked about it a lot. Like, maybe not on the podcast, but there is a limit to how long a show can last and be good.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I think for a sitcom, I feel like 9 is a good number, and then you wrap it up.
How I Met Your Mother.
Did 9 wrapped up?
There you go. And that's the best sitcom there's been. So
It's the best.
Well, I don't know
It's
if
one of my
about the best
favourites.
sitcoms, but yeah, one of the best in America.
But I think with a lot of other shows, I think 5 to 8 is probably the most I would push.
Yeah, it's like when Simpsons. They're on what, series 28 now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just.
It's a shame because the early episodes of The Simpsons were great.
But
Anyway,
I
that's
think
The Simpsons. We've already talked about that.
I suppose if you go past, if you're a big drama TV show and you go past 8 seasons, you better start parodying yourself and just becoming funny. But no, I think it should. I feel like it should wrap up soon.
Yeah.
I think 8, maybe 9 at a push, and then just kill it, cut the head off.
Or destroy the brain. But yeah, so and you're going to carry on with Revolution.
Yeah, at least for a bit. Maybe it might just be I want to keep going until I find out why the blackout happened, and then I'll just be like, okay, cool. That's all I needed to know. Goodbye.
I wonder if it'll be like Lost, and they don't actually reveal it, and until the end, and then you go, oh, they're all dead. Yep, okay, fine.
I honestly haven't seen the end of Lost, and I don't think I ever will, because
I've not seen the start of Lost, so
yeah.
I
I
don't think I could start Lost now. Knowing that what I know that it turns out to be at the end, and knowing that it's not a particularly satisfying answer, I'm not sure if I could then go back and watch it and enjoy it. But maybe we'll do Lost next year.
maybe.
As part of an episode where the shows don't really make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
makes me think we should do Twin Peaks, but then that's a 90-minute pilot, and it's tough watching.
Speaking of 90-minute pilots, next time,
Yes.
Foyle's War.
Bit of a gear change.
Yeah.
So we'll do Foyle's War and
Dad's Army.
Which, yay! It's like one of my favourite things. I used to watch it as a kid, and to this day, I have the audiobooks, like the audio plays that they did on my iPod.
Yeah. Well, Foyle's War is a bit different. It's a bit
I've
more.
never seen it.
It's a bit. Oh, well, I've seen some of it because I started watching Instead of Revolution because I didn't check this first.
No, so that's your next thing to learn. Always check the list.
Yeah. But I mean, what I watched of it was pretty good. And I didn't realise it's written by Anthony Horowitz.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, he does
Yeah.
a lot of TV writing, actually. He's a good writer. I do like him.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll chat about those next time.
Yes, we will.
Woohoo!
Yeah, watch out for zombies. Bye.
And always charge your phone. Bye.